How's it going? So allegedly, in my line of work, I'm meant to be some sort of a professional. One problem with that, my truck kind of makes me look like a tweaker. So today, we're gonna take this old thing and turn it from tweaker to professional tweaker. So there's a few different issues that need to be tackled. Let's start with part one.
Stacking up the boxes, time to rearrange. Cranktown City, get ready for a change. From a tweaker truck to a clean machine. Organize my life.
Okay. Organization. I'll organize the truck maybe once a year, but then I get laborers who don't know where the tools go and they start throwing it in every which way. And then I get impatient and start throwing stuff all over the place until the cabinets just become a long trash can. So to fix that problem, I want to make it harder to put stuff in the wrong place than in the right place and utilize more of that 3D space. So to do that, we're adding drawers. In the last video, you already saw, I cut out all these nice drawer blank things. These we're gonna fold up into boxes along these little perforations I put in there. And these are made to perfectly fit in that large cabinet. So let's process these puppies. So step one, we wanna clean all this schmutz off of there. Step two, we take a flap disc and we knock down all this dross and slag. Step three, we finish scoring each of our bend lines. You see why I have so many grinders? Step four, we will these bends into submission without a bending brake, because that would take too long to set up and not made a time. Now we tack all the corners, and then we TIG weld the front corners. At least then they got a fighting chance at looking nice. Now, the back side? Who the hell cares? It's on the back. And just like that, we've got a beautiful drawer ready to go. Now we just do that 6 more times. Look at them, they're beautiful. Now I guess I gotta go clean out the cabinet to fit these in. That's exactly what I've been avoiding doing for the last 6 months. I've gone ahead and cut these pieces out. And these I'm gonna weld in place, and these are gonna be what we mount our drawer slides on. Don't screw it up. But as you can see, we got these on. Oh, and I realized I cut this the wrong way, so the handle's on the bottom. Whoopsie. But there's not too much to show here. You basically saw it all with how I installed this. So let's skip to this thing filled up. Ta-da! Got them all put in. The drawer slides are a little sloppier than I would hope, but you know, they're soft close. They're close enough. And what do you expect when your only parameters for drawer slides is cheapness? So it'll do. I did leave one drawer out because this spot is to put this socket set into. And I initially had it on a drawer because I thought it was going to be hard to lift it out, but it really isn't. And I think it would be annoying for every time you try to open one of these drawers, the whole thing comes out on a drawer. So that's just going to go in there like that. So now I got a bunch of this foam. I'm going to attempt the foam insert tool organization system thing. I think this is the way that I want to organize all this. So I'm just going through and tracing everything. Then I can go right ahead and cut those shapes out of the foam. So I found out I can actually turn this thing up. So it's not as trashy as I thought. It's actually pretty good at cutting this foam. But man, those fumes are toxic. And just like that, all of our drawers are nice and organized. Can you even see the top one? Beautiful. Now I filled all of these with the tools that I use most, so that'll be good. The last thing is this drawer. And this drawer I sized to fit this 6-port Ryobi charger in. But the problem with it is can't really get the batteries in and out, so I'm gonna have to cut it. Who needs a CNC plasma cutter? That's beautiful. So the idea with this, we've got those 2 little screws in the back there. Not sure if you can see it. Just gotta line this up with them. It's hard to do one-handed. Just like that. Now it's attached to it. We can get all the batteries in and out, no problem. And this will just plug in somewhere back there. And then if I'm on a job site and I wanna go plug it in to the house, I can just take it off. Nice. Before we move on, I went through and I painted the bottom of the drawers and actually glued the foam in, and that's nice, man. It almost makes me think I should paint the outside of the drawers, but we'll see. Anyway, onward. That's kind of that done, and I really do like it. I think it's gonna be awesome, but the only way that I'll actually know if I like it is by having it in use for a while. So I think I'm just gonna try and live with this for the next year, and if I want to do this to the rest of the cabinets, I will. I'd hate to learn that I hate it and then have to tear out twice as much. So the rest of the cabinets, I just went ahead and organized them like normal. There's really not that many tools left. I was able to fit a hell of a lot in these drawers, so that's pretty cool. Now, to cap off the organization section, there's 2 more things I'd like to do. Thing 1, this little thing I made for a pack out, and I was just using material that I had, hence the mesh. It's right over the tires, so it just spits mud up into there, so we gotta make that solid. No problem. Thing number 2, over on this side, I've got this terrible drawer that I put in frickin' years ago. This is terrible. I don't like it. We're doing something different. So I want to change this cabinet up so that I can fit my laser in here. It's grindy time. Oh my! I was plasma cutting a piece out and I cut through a spray paint can. And now that I was looking in there, I realized there was a damn propane cylinder and my very... Fuck. Got him. Jesus. Well, what do we do? Just let that burn out? Ay, ay, ay. Melty, melty. Oh. Oh no. Paint all over the driveway. What the hell, man? That was foolish. That was very dumb. And at first I was like, oh, whatever, this is kind of funny. Get the camera. Of course, that's my first instinct, but man, this was on top of that fire. That could have been a very dumb way to die, but at least I would have got it on camera. Anyway, back to what I was doing. Kind of like it. It's like a Salvador Dali organization bin. It's nice. All right, no more explosives in here. Let's get back to it. Beautiful. Now we can move on to part 2.
Working on myself, yeah, that's how I roll. Upgrading the power, gonna reach my goal. Now that we're in part 2 of this video show, gonna add a bigger battery.
Now onto the electronics. So this is what I've had for like auxiliary power for the past couple years. It's a lithium deep cycle battery and a DC-DC battery charger to charge off of the alternator. And I mean, this has worked fine, but I never put an inverter in and the capacity isn't all that great. So we're gonna upgrade all of this. And that's gonna be very easy thanks to, well, it's not really a sponsor. This is gonna be our new power system. This is the, what, Blue Eddy AC200L. And honestly, it's pretty sweet. It's got DC out, USB out, and AC out, up to 2400 watts of AC. And I'm not exactly sure on the capacity. Oh wait, that's the capacity. When I initially got this, I was doing a job where there was no power on site, and I had to bring a generator on all the time just to run the concrete mixer, which is, ew, loud. Well, once I got this, I started bringing this, and it could run the concrete mixer all day, no problem, only dropping down to like 84%, I think. And I was actually able to weld off of it. Mind you, it was the lowest power setting on the machine off of 120, but still, that's pretty dang good. Now, they did send me this for free, but the only time I accept free things from companies is when there is no contract and no speaking points, which they don't even really know that I'm making a video about this. So I'm just putting it in here because I actually do like the product, and you know, I feel like I owe them something. So let's install this thing in the truck. Now we got one little problem here. Doesn't really fit. So we're gonna move it over into this cabinet. There's not really all that much going on in this cabinet anyways, so I'm gonna get this prepared for it. I mean, honestly, there's not all that much to this install, so I'm just gonna do it and then show you what I've done.
Wrench in my hand, yeah, I'm getting it done. Time to level up, I won't be outdone. Bigger, better, recharges by the ton. My workshop's a powerhouse, second to none.
I'm back, and much dirtier because I've been crawling underneath the truck for the last hour. So I've moved the shelf and cut the lip off of it so we can get this thing in and out, and it can come in and out if I ever need to take it out for a job. Albeit not easily, but it can be done. But hopefully it won't have to be done often. So we stick this thing in there. You can't really see over there, but it is plugged into charging. So it's not charging right now, but if we go and start the truck, then it'll start charging. That way it doesn't just drain the battery when it's sitting. So it's only charging when the truck's on. Then in this cabinet, we've got this little pigtail, which just gets plugged into the box, and that can stay plugged in. And that pigtail goes down here to a junction box, and the junction box on one end splits off to our charger over here. And there was no room for an actual outlet in there, so I just have an extension cord that barely fits underneath it here. But that way, if we need to take the charger out, it's pretty easy to unplug and take it out and plug it in somewhere else. So as you can see, those are charging. Very good. We'll see how quickly that drains the battery. I don't think it'll drain it too much though. The other leg on the junction box goes to this. We got an outlet on the back of the truck. So I put this on the back because I do a lot of work in this vise that's on the back. And also, I'll just be able to back it up to any place where I'm working and pop an extension cord in there. So, plug my little tooly guy in there. That's gonna be freaking nice, man. So it's the next day and the charger's been plugged in all night. And we're down to 78%, which that's not too bad. It was at 80 or something yesterday. I guess I should have remembered. I'll put it on the screen. Either way, anything below 5% down for running something all night, I'm pretty cool with that. Because, I mean, as much as I hate it, I do have to drive that truck every damn day. Capitalism!
Lobo numbers plastered on my truck. Final product, the video, we ain't giving up. Us combined with the OC, that's how we roll. Representing my company from streets to the show. Yeah.
This one's for part 3. It's windy today. So, the initial game plan was to take this concept and put it across the whole utility bed. Diamond plate steel with a rusted, you know, logo, ROC numbers, all that good stuff. And that's mostly what I'm gonna do, but last night when I was laying everything out on the computer, I got hit with a stroke of inspiration. The best kind of stroke to be hit by. So, in my work, I do a lot of Gabion wall. If you don't know what that is, here's some pictures. Oh, you're wobbling. Stop wobbling, what the f? So I was thinking, this back cabinet, I'm gonna turn into a fake Gabion, if you will. I got a plan. Step 1, I got this dumb little rock sticker thing. Hopefully it'll be fine outdoors. I'm not sure about the protocol on installing this, but sure doing it outside on a windy day is not the best way to do this. Look at that, a rock cabinet. These are what's gonna trim out that cabinet. And this guy has to be welded on there. Just like that. And the rest of these pieces just go together in a square. Well, you know, slightly more square. Oh no! I keep starting fires. What is wrong with me today? At this rate, this video is never getting released. I'm gonna burn my damn house down. Anyway, square. Now this piece goes on top of our mesh. Hopefully you can see it. We have a beautiful Gabion panel there. Now we just gotta attach the lettering. So I've gone right ahead and plasma cut out all these little numbers and letters that are going on there. Problem, starting to frickin' snow. And I'm cold. So I think I'm calling it for the day. But overnight, I've got some muriatic acid. I'm gonna put the letters in there and let them soak overnight. So, as you can see, I fished the letters out of the acid, and they look pretty good. I really love that etched finish. I've tried to maintain this etched finish before, and it doesn't really work, especially on something that's gonna be outdoors. That's what I did initially for the logo on the truck. And even with it sealed, it rusted to where it's at right now. So we're just gonna fully rust these. I've gone through and organized all the letters. That was rough, man, but we got there. I've got this, which is a mixture of vinegar, hydrogen peroxide, and salt. And this will rust them over pretty dang quick. Look at that, that's nice. So initially, I was gonna put the, you know, fencing, gabions, blah blah on this gabion panel, but I went ahead and mocked it up and dude, looks sick. One problem, it's kind of difficult to make out the lettering, and also I don't really know how I'm gonna attach all those tiny little letters to it. So I'm thinking, screw it. I'm just gonna put my ROC numbers in the bottom corner because I'm only putting those on because it's required, and I don't really care if you can read it. And then I'm either just gonna forego those little letters or find another home for them on the cabinets. Let's get those attached and then we can weld this guy on. Ta-da! It looks pretty good. I kind of screwed up the spacing on these last ones, but it doesn't bother me enough to change it. So we're living with it. And to seal in the rust and prevent the rest of the steel from rusting, I'm using Penetrol, which is a brush stroke leveler paint additive, but it does work very well for sealing steel. You may be surprised, but I actually went through and ground the paint off of the spots where I'm going to be welding this thing. That's a first for this channel, huh? I think it looks pretty freaking cool, man. Look at that. Now, the rest of the cabinets. So this is one of the cabinet doors that came off the plasma cutter. Those things cut pretty dang good, man. Although I screwed up the measurements on some of them, but this one's fine. So all these little holes here are so that we can place the letters onto them and then weld them from the back side. In order to make sure the letters stay in the correct position, I'm just gonna use quickset epoxy. Probably not very often that somebody mixes an entire tube of JB quick weld, huh? I just like laying the pressure on. There's no easy way to hang this. Since this opens downwards, I can't open it up, clamp it, and weld it along the side like I did for this cabinet. So I'm just gonna have to precariously balance this in place and tack it as quick as I can. So fingers crossed. Oh, and as you can see, I started painting all this trim area. I'm not totally sold on it. I initially thought I was gonna do it with truck bed liner, but that looks stupid. This gray kind of looks stupid. I think I'm just gonna end up repainting the rest of the bed white and just like cleaning it up. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see for sure once this is up. It looks kind of sweet, man. is a heavy frickin' door now though, I gotta say. I guess now I just gotta sheet the rest of these panels. Now we do the exact same thing on the other side. As sick as I am of this project and as much as I want it to be over, I've made the decision to go ahead and do something cool with this door too. I don't have much of a plan for this. I'm just gonna start by cutting this out because you can see the door has got a thickness to it, and this is all hollow minus like the door hardware stuff. So I think what I wanna do for this can fit on the inside of this thickness. So we'll start by cutting that out. Trim this thing out. I'm gonna use some of this square tube. I really only need this portion of it. So I've got this little piece that I printed that goes on the tip of the plasma cutter, and that's just gonna keep us straight with the edge of this piece. That way we can keep the nice little round over, but it'll still fit over what we need to cover on the truck. We'll see how long this lasts till it melts. Wow, what a beautiful piece, huh? Now we just gotta stick them together. Seeing as these are technically decorative miters, I'd like to put down a good weld, so I guess it's time to clean this tip that I haven't cleaned in months. I mean, it could be worse. Look at that. The illusion of square tube, eh? Beautiful. Now comes the pimping. First, we weld this guy down the center. Then, we take these strips. They'll get welded inside like that. Would you look at that? That is freaking nice. I'm glad I didn't wuss out and just do diamond plate on this one. So my plan was to treat this so it would rust, but honestly, the natural rust that were just on the pieces when I put it up there looks freaking good, man. So I don't think I'm gonna treat this at all. Now, seeing that nice orange rust really makes me wish that this logo was lighter. So I went and I sanded this D down, and I'm retreating it again just to see if maybe sanding than treating will give us some nicer rust, but we'll see. Wow, look at that. That really worked. Okay, I lied. That's not why it's lighter. Retreating it did not help at all. What I've wound up doing is painting it. So the way I've been doing this, I've got these little craft paints here and a sponge. And all I do is I get a little corner of the sponge covered in that. I start with a darker shade and I just stipple that thing. Then I'll get a lighter shade and I'll stipple it in different spots. Rinse and repeat up through all the steps of shades that I have. Just like that. So then we have a much better match between that rust and that rust. And it's a heck of a lot easier to read the letters. So I guess I gotta go through and stipple that goop all over this dang thing. And honestly, after that goop is stippled, that's about it for this. I'm gonna stipple the goop, then I'm gonna repaint everything and then spray a clear coat over everything, and that's job done. And assuming nothing crazy or interesting happens in that whole process, I'm just gonna skip over all of that in the video and go straight into the glamour shots.
Brand new paint job, shining bright. Logos on my truck and just right. Clear coat glimmer, catching the light. It's time for glamour shots, day and night.
Ta-da! Well, that's that done. I got all the white bits repainted. As you can see, I've put truck bed liner on the pipe rack and the bumper. It's almost looking like a new truck, you know, minus all the millions of dents and the messed up body on the front. Now, am I looking more professional? Well, I'm definitely more noticeable. I guess that's a good thing for marketing, maybe. Either way, I think it turned out pretty nice. I only marginally regret the clear coat. I think it's a little too glossy, but we'll see how that dulls down over time. But otherwise, yeah, I think this was all a success. I'm finally compliant with the Registrar of Contractors, and I've got some pretty sweet storage, and I'll never have to load a big old generator in the back of the truck again. So, yeah. Anyway, that's what I got this time. If you like what you saw, leave a good old dinger. Think about subscribing, and thank you for watching.
Sure, yeah. Got my numbers out there on display, so the Registrar of Contractors knows I don't play. Better blur those numbers though, cause I might get stalked if I leave them in the video. Cause